High value, high paying, and high ticket. Most people think the only way to learn a new skill is to either go back to school or buy an expensive course. But again, what if I told you you're already sitting on the best learning environment possible? Last episode of Everything Entrepreneurship, the podcast, I told you your job is a goldmine. And granted, I was able to touch on about one, two, three things you can actually do, but I'm about to take it to the next level to really show you what I mean by gold mine instead of just a resource. Um, if you haven't noticed already, it's my birthday, or at least Friday was my birthday. Recording this the day after on Saturday, you feel me? Got a whole bunch of love and support. They said, what do you want to do for your birthday? Where do you want to go? I say, you know what? I just love working. I'm low-key workaholic. I love what I do. So at the end of the day, I have no problem just locking in and grinding, you feel me? But you got to let your hair down every once in a while. But back to the topic. You're here for a reason. You're back. Your first time, doesn't matter. Thank you. We're growing. I got more subscribers, more followers, and more people are being put on to this podcast. So again, my goal right now is to give you the value you came for within probably the next 20, 30. Last week, we almost hit an hour, but because I can go, but I want to be able to, I don't want to give you fluff. I want to give you just the meat and potatoes, right? So when I say high value, high paying, and high ticket, what do I mean? You don't need to necessarily go to school to get the skills you need for the side hustle or business you want to create, right? Most people, at least I find in consultations, most people are either in the field or adjacent to the field that they want to start a side hustler business for the most part. It's rare that somebody wants to be a chef and they're currently working at a warehouse. It happens. It's rare that somebody is in sales and they want to go to med school to become a doctor, right? If somebody is in this profession, they typically have the skills and they want to move up. For example, if somebody is working at a dealership, whether it be in sales, in finance, in parts, and warranty, whatever it might be, they might want to have a business idea or side hustle that has something to do with automotive. They feel they can leverage their expertise and their years of experience into that next venture. And there's a couple main points I want to get to before I dive into exactly what you need to do and why you might want to reconsider before you have to go to school, take out a loan, buy one of these crazy expensive courses. You have to have a mental shift first. A book I'd recommend is called The E-Myth by, where is he at? Michael E. Gerber. That's a great book. That book puts into perspective one of the most common misconceptions that people have. I do this work. I don't get paid enough. I can start a business my own, not taking into consideration all the different moving parts that a business has. So if you haven't already checked out The E-Myth, definitely read it. If you have Audible, listen to it. It's a great read. It's a great listen. And it can catapult you from having that entrepreneurial seizure, as he says, that feeling of I'm working for somebody else, but at the same time, I can do this myself. And it allows you to really look at yourself, look at what you have, and look at what you have to do and approach that the right way, right? Now, high value and high paying and high ticket. Most people just want big money. They just want just big money. If you're on social media, you've probably been shown an ad or two by somebody that says, hey, you can get into this high ticket. Oh, you know what? Just sell this high ticket mastermind, this high ticket webinar, this high ticket masterclass, this high ticket. If I had hours, I'd be able to go in depth as to how most of that is just bull. You know, there is value in certain things being high ticket, but high ticket isn't the only way. I'm of the belief that if you're really good at something, you should be able to do low ticket, high ticket, medium ticket, no ticket. You know, you don't need to be reliant on a $2,000, $5,000, $7,000 sale and that be your only product or service that you can offer somebody. But hey, to each their own. It is what it is. I have a multi-$1,000 offer, and my business SVSM, digital media marketing agency, definitely has multi-thousand-dollar offers, you know. But when you're starting or when you're at a job, when you're working a 9 to 5, one of the main things that you're going to come across is that self-reflection that says, all right, I've been here for a while. I have these skills, but I don't know enough to take it to the next level. And I'm here to let you know that that's not the case. I'm here to let you know with real examples of people that have pushed through, of how you can use what's already around you to your advantage and how they did it and how you can do it as well, right? So once you let that sink in, if your job is giving you access to free trainings, industry knowledge, and a real world business experience, why wouldn't you use it? So many times people are in the positions they're in, but they don't use the resources that are there. If you're part of maybe not even like a big corporation, but just a nice small business, good company, 9 times out of 10, upper management, the owner, the founders have invested a lot of money into having proper trainings for you. And if you're in a particular position and you only have access to these trainings for that specific position, right? Let's say I'm a salesman and I only have access to the sales trainings. You might not necessarily have access to marketing trainings or operations trainings or human resources trainings, which is fine because most people don't want to overload you. But you'd be surprised if you check to see your employer, what resources do they have readily available to you, what you can already access, or what you can access upon just simply asking to learn more, to contribute to the team, right? And again, giving actionable advice and things you can do, the fundamentals, is what I'm here to do. So though I'm already a couple minutes in, welcome to Everything Entrepreneurship, the podcast. I'm Kyle Jerome Carter. And in this episode, I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can educate yourself at your job and position yourself in a better position to win, for you to start that or exceed in your side hustle or business, right? So if we get into what does that really look like, right? I like having this little portion that's like, is that me, you know? So if you ever think to yourself, I want to start a business, but I don't feel like I have the right skills. You know, I see people launching companies, marketing themselves and selling services, and I don't know where to start. I could take a course, but I don't have the money or the time to go back to school. Like, what do I do? And again, school is for some. It might not necessarily have to be for you to get over this hump. You have, more than any other time in this world, access to almost unlimited information. But the abundance of information keeps people stagnant, right? We have what's called analysis paralysis. And one thing that really stands out to me is there's been a shift in just the industry, or just in general, right? That it used to be, if I have some secrets and I have a product or service, I'm not going to put those secrets out there because I don't want people to steal them. And if they steal them, then I don't have the edge, right? But people are so blatant and bold nowadays, and it's even documented. Like, I could probably find a couple of videos where people say, with not just confidence, but in a cocky way or cocky manner, you'll find them saying to each other or to somebody else, excuse me, I used to hide my secrets from the masses, but now I give them away. I give them away because I know the average person is not going to do anything with them. 9 out of 10 people aren't going to do what they have to do. And because of that, I'm no longer afraid of holding on to my trade secrets or giving away the farm, because I know you're probably 9 out of 10 people that's not going to do anything with it. And when I heard that, it really hit me in a way, because I'm not necessarily one of those 9 out of 10. Like, I can hear something, you could tell me to do this, and I'm just going to do it. That doesn't mean I'm just going to jump off a bridge. But when it comes to applying a method towards a business venture or for an objective, and it's coming from somebody that's already done it and proven, then I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it out there. I'm going to fail. I'm going to succeed, whatever it takes, right? I'm not going to be too in my head. I'm just going to execute it and then measure reflect, and then approach it better next time. Most people can't do that. Most people will overanalyze. They'll think, oh, there's no way that this could be true. And they're going to just be paralyzed because they went from the goal of doing the thing to now the goal becomes researching about doing the thing. And once you spend so much time researching doing the thing, you then get exhausted, and something in you accomplishes that goal after a certain amount, whether it be YouTube videos, whether it be reading books, whether it be taking courses, whatever it might be. And you went from, okay, I'm going to do this, to now I learned this thing, and what do I do? Because there's, as they say, oh, dang, I got two cats. There's 9 ways to skin a cat or something like that. And if you're looking at people telling you, no, do it this way, no, do it this way, no, do it this way, no, do it this way. For example, going to the gym. If you're out of shape and you want to start going to the gym, then it should be pretty simple to get a gym membership, drive to the gym, and work out, right? But we don't want to not know what we're doing. We don't want to be made fun of or anything like that. So what do? We look up, what's the best workout to do? After we figure out what's the best workout to do, what's the best meal before? What's the best meal after? I want to look good while I'm at the gym. What can I wear to the gym? Okay, but I'm not the way I want to look yet, so I don't know about this. And the list goes on. And once you figure out that this method that you were already vested in and about to do, you see somebody contradicting that. Oh, I'll do anything but that method, because if you do that method, it's over. And then from there, again, analysis paralysis. You're doing too much stuff when at the end of the day, all you had to do was go to the gym. And the same thing happens with business. So when somebody is stopped by having the skill, and to get the skill, you need the experience. And to get the experience, you need some form of education. I'm not talking about formal, just learning, right? People stop themselves because there's so many different moving parts leading up to that, when all you need to do is realize this is the goal, and this is how I get closer to it. I get closer to it by learning this. And by learning this, I'm going to be by other people or in other rooms with people that are also learning this or have done it, so I can ask them. So when you're at your job, I don't want you to think I need to quit to learn what I need for business. 9 times out of 10, that's not true. Even if you're that person that's a salesman, but you want your business to be a chef, you don't necessarily, you might want to go to cooking school, but at the same time, there's a lot of self-taught chefs. And there are many aspects of being a successful chef that you can find, but also nurture in your job, right? So you can find what it takes to be a great chef. And there's a lot of foundational skills that you can nurture in your job as you transition or as you build that on the side, right? I don't want you to think only formal education or paid courses can teach you valuable business skills. Your job is already giving you the access to real world, high value training. And if you know how to use it, that's the difference maker. Like I said, is the person, technically, even the person working at McDonald's has some basic videos they got to watch. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you ask upper management, or if you ask upper management to ask the owner, hey, I want to be better at my job, what trainings do we have for me to access a higher level of education? And then from that, if a person asks, hey, I want to have access to these other departments so I can learn and see where I want to grow in this company, right? That's when you start thinking like a business owner. That's when you start to really use your 9 to 5. You start to use your job as a stepping stool, right? Now, I've become of this belief recently, and I don't have a 9 to 5, but when I did have my 9 to 5, if I looked at that job as my client, oh my goodness, just a simple mind shift of that is huge. Your job is your first client. And technically, it could be your second if you're in the same line of business, trying to build a business or side hustle around that. And you have much more objective experience than you have before, or than you thought of. Last episode, I told you to write out a list of objective skills that you've accomplished at your role, which you do, because again, you're going to be surprised of how much more you know than what you think or perceive, right? So most people treat their job like a checklist, just completing tasks and moving on. But entrepreneurs, we look at every task, every meeting, every resource as an opportunity to level up. I'm truly allowing you to look at your 9 to 5. You have permission to look at your job differently. You have permission to go into your job today, tomorrow, the next day, and say, you know what? My job's using me. I'm going to use it ethically. I'm always going to say ethically because I know there's some people that are going to just be like, I'm a scam them. I'm going to milk this. I'm going to just, no, we're going to do it ethically because we're good people, right? We don't burn bridges unless they need to be burned. Um, no, you can tap into where you are and you can become the next version of where you need to be, of who you need to be, so that when it comes time, if you choose to leave your job, you already have case studies, you already have a portfolio, you already have the experience, skills, and education that you thought you didn't have access to. So I'm gonna break down the three things you need to do. But first, we got two examples, right? Um, where is it at? I have two solid examples for you guys. Number one, Sarah Blakely. She is the founder of Spanx, the women's wear. She worked as a fax machine salesperson at Donka, a corporate office supply company, and she basically studied marketing, sales, and persuasion by attending corporate training sessions. She gained cross-departmental exposure by interacting with executives and learning how business deals were structured. She used her knowledge in sales psychology and pitching to later convince Neiman Marcus to stock Spanx, launching her billion-dollar empire, right? Now, that's an example of, because I was just going to give you an example of me, but screw me. Like, this is value for you. And though I can give my lived experience and that's going to help people, there are, as you're going to see, not just in this episode, but many other episodes, I'm going to reference other people as they've used their workplace, as they've used what they have to ascend higher. And she's an example of somebody that went on and founded a company. But again, KJC isn't going to tell you to just jump out there because I know full-fledged entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. Whereas you can be at your job, be like, KJC, this entrepreneurship thing is nice. I just need some extra income. And to get extra income, I could start a side hustle or business, but I could just ascend where I'm at, right? That's correct. Take, for example, Howard Schultz. He's the former CEO of Starbucks. Now, how did he get there, right? He started as a sales rep at Xerox, where he learned high-level sales strategies through corporate training programs. He moved into the coffee industry at Starbucks before it was a global brand and studied business operations, supply chain, and marketing strategies from within. He used his cross-industry experience to reposition Starbucks as a premium lifestyle brand, transforming it into an empire. So he basically used that corporate training at Xerox and Starbucks to learn sales, branding, and supply chain management, which helped him to scale Starbucks into a global powerhouse. That's an example of a person that used the resources they have at their job, but didn't choose to say, I'm going to start my own company. He decided to apply that to a new company and take that as high as it can go. You know, you don't have to necessarily quit your job. Most people just want more money. And sometimes you can get more money by ascending in your company or finding the company that you want to ascend into, right? Now, though I'm of the belief that each person is capable of reaching the potential they want, whether they do it or not is on them. This is everything entrepreneurship. And if you have a position of like a C-level position or an executive position or a general manager position, you have so many entrepreneurial traits, you know. Looking to connect with a couple different businesses, as I said in my last episode, to just show some of these entrepreneurial skills and how they can be applied for their employees. And if you're a salesman, you know more than anybody, that's one of the most entrepreneurial jobs a person can have, because 9 times out of 10, they're commission based or solely commission, like commission only or traditionally commission based. And they have to, they eat what they kill, for lack of a better term. And it takes a lot of things to source business if the company doesn't give them leads or whatever it might be. But let's get to the 3 things that you can do today, if you're watching this, or tomorrow, whenever. 3 steps or strategies that you can do, right? So number 1, I want you to leverage corporate training programs for free education. Many companies provide like some sort of leadership. If you're at McDonald's, if you're at Mack Truck, it doesn't matter where you are, even if you're at a warehouse. Find out what you can access, right? We're going to find out what you can access, and then we're going to find out everything they have. Now, some people are going to be like, yo, KJC, that sounds good in theory, but my supervisor, they're just an asshole. Like, they're going to be looking at me like, what are you trying to do? You're here for a job, work your job and get out of here. But we're not going to worry about them. We're going to worry about what we can control. And what we can control is asking, what trainings do we have? And even if you went through those trainings, some of them are so boring, especially the ones with the test and they try to move the answer around and stuff like that. Most of the times it's just onboarding and stuff like that. But past the onboarding for your specific position, there has to be some sort of education there, whether it's standard operation procedures, whether it's full-on video, whatever it might be. Find out what you do have access to. And then from there, you're going to ask, what else is there? Now, you're going to find most people, once you get a full breakdown of what you have access to, and you ask what else is there, unless there's a hard stop, a restriction for just sensitive information or like C-level information, a supervisor is going to be able to unlock whatever they can unlock. They're going to say, okay, cool, you have access to number 1, and I have access to number 4, like 1 through 5. You can't get 4 and 5, but I'll unlock 2 and 3. 2 is about basic management stuff, and 3 is about loss prevention or something like that. By simply looking at what you already have and looking at what you can get access to, and then taking notes on this stuff and applying it day to day, you can see, you can see if, one, your job is following these policies and procedures. 9 times out of 10, probably not. Some are a little bit more loose than others. Or you could figure out if you can apply something in your current position from another field, right? Great thing, sales and marketing go hand in hand. And many times, if you're in sales, you think marketing is a problem. If you're in marketing, you think sales is a problem. Marketing's, I get the leads, you got to close them. And sales is like, yo, I need better leads. These leads are trash sometimes, right? Sales trainings are a bit different than marketing training, but it is good for both of them to know what each other does, right? Number 2, I want you to shadow departments or projects to gain cross-industry skills. Now, this might be a little bit more contingent on your specific position or place of work, but and I always say this, start with a lunch. Start with a lunch for your supervisor. You're not kissing ass. You're literally just trying to educate yourself. What are you educating yourself on? Your client has access to higher level of education. They have higher knowledge of not only their position, but how the company works. Unless they came after you, they're new to the company. I'm not talking about that. The first thing you're going to do, or the lowest fruit from the tree right now, is to ask your direct supervisor if you can shadow them. If you can't shadow them, you got to figure out, and you know how your place of work works and operates. Figure out who is it that you can shadow, who can you follow to make sure that everything is going the way that these trainings were. Because these are, whereas you can do 1, 2, or 3. Ideally, I want you to do number 1, which is to look at what trainings you have and figure out what trainings that you can access. And then after that, you're going to figure out who is it that I can shadow. And if you can't necessarily shadow them for a day because you have a whole bunch of responsibilities, then you want to figure out, okay, cool, I take a lunch and so does this person. Can I eat lunch where this person eats lunch? If it's a break room, if it's a department, hey, I want to treat you guys to a pizza or something like that. Sit in there, have a conversation. If you're the person that's trying to move up, you're trying to move up. You're going to have a better understanding of how things work and what it takes to get to that next level. If you're doing this to educate yourself for a side hustle or a full business, you're learning. You're figuring out how these department heads, how these people in these positions not only got there, but how they see their position. And if we look at the trainings and you didn't necessarily have access to trainings on their position, let's say you had access to training number 1 and you got 2 and 3, but 4 and 5 were still restricted. And the person that you're shadowing is in one of those like 4 or 5 positions. You might not have direct data as to how they were trained to efficiently do the business, but you will start to see, okay, I got 1, 2, and 3 down. This is what 4 looks like. And take notes, take notes, write that down and see. Don't compare yourself like, oh, this person isn't that great. Why are they getting paid all this money? Don't be that. That's not the person you want to be. All right. And then number 3, Convert work assignments into portfolio pieces or for freelance or business use. Now, take this one and I want you to, what's the best way? Because I don't want you to get in trouble. 9 times out of 10, branded work for your company is for your company. And when you sign your paperwork as an employee, you cannot put that information out. So I'm not telling you to just take work you've done and use that in your portfolio. Right now, as I said before, your employer is your client, right? And if your employer is your client and you're already doing a skill, what is it that you have that you can either document or repurpose and put into your professional portfolio? So in the event that you're looking to move up within the company, you could show them, look at my portfolio if you forgot all the money I made you, right? All the high value I gave you. If you don't put that in your portfolio to show them, because that's the person that's looking to move up. If you're trying to put together a case study or a testimonial or get a testimonial, it's easier if you already have a little bit of work. And if you do work every day and we can take little aspects of it, if not a full piece, or repurpose a piece or create from scratch for somebody else, like exactly what it is you do, you can basically show somebody, hey, I'm good at this. This is where I started and this is where I'm at. And that gives somebody more confidence because most people get hung up on their first sale or their first client. And they say, it's so hard to get my first sale, my first client. When I'm telling you right now, your job is your first client. You already got them and you're doing most of the work that you need to do for your side hustler business, right? Now, that's in a perfect world. Perfect world is I'm in IT or let's say marketing. Bring it. You're in marketing, right? Let's say you do the emails and you can't take the exact email that they have. What you can do, you could take the email, taking out any client sensitive information, taking out any company branding or logos, taking out anything that would be detrimental to your career, and you have exactly what the email looks like. You have how frequently the emails go out, how they're structured, the HTML. You have a full breakdown that you can now put into a portfolio and you can document this was this week or this day or this month. And look at how that measured or performed against this. So if you're trying to start anything to do with marketing, you have now, look at my email. My email sequence is nice. We get results and it's structured right. It's adaptable because though this is my client or this is for my employer, I'm now building this out for myself, or I'm building this out for this other person, right? Creating a portfolio is huge, and most people don't understand that they have a portfolio already. You might be in a position, let's say you're at I always go down to this. Let's say McDonald's. What kind of portfolio can I make at McDonald's, KJC? That one's a tough one. If you think about it, tough. That one requires a lot of customer service skills. So what you're going to do, you're going to say, how amazing of service do I have to give? And granted, I know it's hot. I know you're probably sweaty, might stink a little bit. It might be annoying. It might be loud in there, but we have the right mindset. We're not going to stay at the lowest level of McDonald's. By the end of this, you're going to be making your own money from a franchise McDonald's or your own business, right? So what you're going to do in such a service-based business like that, let's say you're client facing, you're going to say, how good of service do I have to give to get a positive review on Google or Yelp, or to get a compliment from a customer that asks to speak to my manager, give them a compliment? And you're going to spend that next 2 weeks giving the highest level of service. Imagine you're working at Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A got some of the best service. Imagine I'm going to see what all I have to do. Do I have to come with a smile, say you're welcome, ask if they want this? No, that wasn't enough. Do I got to do this? Are you going to get through the week or the 2 weeks or the month that you do this and not get a single one? But you're still going to have a good understanding of human psychology as it comes to service, where you're able to get people to upcharge and buy this thing instead of that thing. This all goes into some sort of portfolio. It doesn't have to just be a PDF. This allows you to now make not only documentation of the different levels of customer service that you gave, but you could also even write a blog about this. And you could just say, hey, this is my perspective on customer service as it pertains to X or Y or Z. What I'm basically getting at is you can't be pigeonholed by where you are. If you believe that you're limited, then you're going to be limited. Most people are just in that 9 to 5 grind. They clock in, clock out, do their job. But at the same time, I guarantee, just like I said last episode, you have so many skills that you have that you're good at that you can apply and take somewhere else. But we're not going to take them somewhere else too soon. That's why I said you got to read the E Myth. Keep forgetting his name. You got to read the E Myth by Michael E. Gerber. It's a great book. It truly is. It puts in perspective the different parts of you that you have as an employee and what it takes to be the boss and what it takes to be creative and how sometimes they don't mix the West and when one needs to step up and one doesn't need to step up. So basically pause for a second and think, what's one skill that you've learned at your job that you could that could be valuable in a business? Write it down. If you're not sure, DM me on Instagram at kyle.jerome.carter and let's figure it out. Go to Instagram. I had a couple people check me out. And again, that last episode went off, which is dope. But those are the three things. Number one, you're going to figure out what access you have to current trainings and programs. Number two, you're going to figure out exactly who you can shadow. And if you can't shadow, who can you take to lunch? If you can't take to lunch, who can you spend 5 minutes at the water cooler, right? And if you're at Zoom, who can you get early? Who can you get on a Zoom early and have that conversation while people are trickling in? Most times the person that leads it is that person in management or supervisor, and they're there before everybody else. Like there's ways that you can make this thing happen if you think about it that way. And then lastly, you're going to figure out, okay, this is the type of business idea I have. This is the type of business I want, or I just want to move up in the company. What kind of portfolio can I start putting together from the skills I have? And this one is going to really challenge a lot of people because they already, and I'm saying this because the people that I've had conversations with already that are still working a job have that entrepreneurism in them. Facing the fact that they do have these skills and then putting together a portfolio of work is hard initially because they're unaware of how much they've done and how much they do. And many times that goes to show how they are a high value employee and how they bring in a lot of money for the company. And by doing that, they could technically package and sell a high ticket product if they really wanted to. But you're not pigeonholed into that. We're out here creating real things to help real people, not just one person that says, hey, if you make $1 million a month, come talk to me, even though I haven't made $1 million. I could say this high ticket thing and help. No. What we're doing, we're building these not basic, but foundational skills so that when it's your time to rise up, you have this stuff. It's covered and you're ready and you're not intimidated by what's out there. Because there's going to be so much uncertainty. There's going to be things going wrong. There's going to be miscommunication. And the best thing you can do is to know what you know. And to know what you know, you need to know what you need to know. And you have to know who knows what to know. And go shadow them. Go tap into the resource and go figure out what you can put together, right? But those are three things. Already a half hour in. Like I said, it's my birthday. I'm excited. It's another year to go get it, you know. What's new in my world? I got another, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. I have another day in the life interview. It's like interview part 1 coming out. And I got some other cool stuff going on. Literally this everything entrepreneurship thing is like just coming to life. And I appreciate the support, you know. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to just keep going and going and going, dragging this out if I don't need to. I'm here to give you value. If you feel like you got value, subscribe. Go check me out on Instagram, kyle.jerome.carter. Leave a comment. I love the comments too. Like I said, these topics, it comes to me and I build on it. And then I try to figure out exactly how I'm going to approach this, how I'm going to convey this message so that you can get the most out of your job and get into entrepreneurship, start this business, be profitable the right way without all the missteps, wasted time, energy, money, you know. Wish we could all go back and save time, energy, money. But yeah. With that being said, I'm going to end this episode. Thank you for coming back. I have an even better episode next week. and I'm excited. I'm going to try and drop another video. Like I said, I have a video coming out this week with part 1 for the interview, but I have some real deep dive stuff. I'm trying to get this pad and my whiteboard so I can have it on the screen, really just dive into some of these topics even deeper so that you not only know the practical behind it or the conceptual that started it, but the minute details and how they affect different things, nerd out a little bit. That's just me though. But until the next time, thanks for watching. Share this with somebody else. I'm out.